It's time for Focus Forward, sponsored by Invest Grand Bahama. It's Grand Bahama's best talk show, highlighting all of the positive things happening in Freeport.
Look forward to our special guests each week that will tell you about events, activities, and initiatives that are making a remarkable impact on our community.
You'll also hear from local business owners and get a heads up on deals and special promotions. It's time to Focus Forward. Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Focus Forward. We're here sponsored by the Invest Grand Bahama unit of the Grand Bahama Port Authority. My name is Glendia Sweeting, Manager of Quality Assurance and Special Projects at GBPA, and I am joined by my co-host, the beautiful Alex Thompson, Director of Public Affairs of the Downtown Freeport Association. You like that, don't you?
Yeah.
I know.
Everywhere. Flattery will get you everywhere.
I know.
Do it again and start over.
No. So thank you so much. You're a trip.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you
love
guys
it.
so much for being with us today. Of course, you know, at the top of every show, there's always something. She always has something in her mind that she wants me to say or whatever have you. Don't pay her any mind. She'll be okay.
She just admitted the truth on air. That's what she did.
That you're beautiful?
Of course. Say it again. Say it again.
No. No. Yes, you're beautiful.
Thank you
You're
so much.
beautiful.
I love it. I love it. I'm feeling
She
it
needs
this
some
morning.
confirmation, I guess. I don't know
feeling
why.
it. Well, you know what? This is because we have
Yes.
awesome sponsors. We have, of course, Invest Grand Bahama,
Absolutely.
Small Business Bureau.
Yes.
We also have Pick Hair Beauty.
Yes.
We also have Visible Changes.
Yes.
We also have Creative
OMG.
Eye. OMG. Couture. That's what it is. And we're not able to be here without them helping us look wonderful, beautiful, and
Of course.
fantastic to talk to you every single week.
And we appreciate them. They are small businesses within the city of Freeport, and they wanted to have this opportunity to work along with us, so we appreciate you guys as well.
All right, so we have definitely let you know who they are. Now, we want to be able to tell the community at large who you are. If you are a business, a licensee of the Grand Bahama Port Authority here in the city of Freeport, all you have to do is send us an email at info@gbpa.com that says, I want to be on Focus Forward, and our production team will give you a call and set up an opportunity for you to be on the show to talk about your business so the whole world can know what you do.
It's just that simple.
And it's free.
Right.
And what else is free that they get?
And then there's the free business segment of the week that you can receive for being a licensee. So if you do have a business, you're operating within the city, you have your license, just literally reach out to our business development department. You can email the same email address, info@gbpa.com, or if you just want to pick up the phone and call 350-9000, ask for business development or Invest Grand Bahama, and they will definitely be there to help you. Shout out to our lady that's heading up everything with Invest Grand Bahama with Focus Forward and the small businesses, LaShawn Dames and team, Claudine Pinda, Charmaine. We definitely want to highlight Charmaine as well, Charmaine Johnson, the entire team. We appreciate you guys. So those are the persons that you need to be asking for once you decide you want to be able to do something along with us.
That's right. So, of course, we're going to get into our show, but we want to make sure that you remember to tell a friend to tune in because we got good stuff we're talking about today. And all you have to do is go to the GBPA website to find out when we'll be on, at what times and where, because you can find us on Dove. You can find us on The Rhythm. And, of course, you find us right here on ZNS each and every Thursday.
Yes.
As you're watching us on Facebook.
All right. So let's just get into the conversation today because today, you know, so this is KGBC month and they're getting ready to wrap up. And KGBC is Keep Grand Bahama Clean. So we opened the month with KGBC. We talked to them about some of the challenges that they have around the city in terms of litter and waste. We talked about some of the initiatives and the things that they've been doing. And so now today, you know, we couldn't close out this month without having some other guests on the show to continue the conversation. But this is a serious conversation, somewhat. Very serious. This is good information. You definitely want to be able to share this, but you want to be able to understand it as well, because when we talk about code compliance, I'm going to stick a pin there for our guests. When we talk about things like that, you know, everybody needs to be aware about how it affects us and some of the things that we need to do. And so without further ado, I certainly want to welcome to the roundtable, not for the first time, certainly not for the first time, but I believe this is perhaps going to be the greatest time that we're going to have with this gentleman, Mr. Renato Carioyu, who is the Assistant City Maintenance and Management Manager. I hope I got that right.
Yes, you did.
That's a
Glendia.
big
That's
title.
a long title.
Yes, that's a
Wow.
big title,
Yes.
huge job description. And we know that you are always out in the city just getting the work done and doing things. So we want to talk about that a little bit. But secondly, for the very first time, we want to welcome to our roundtable, and we're very, very excited to have with us Miss Tip Burrows from the Grand Bahama Humane Society. Welcome to Focus Forward.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
It's good to have you.
Every time I see you, I'm looking for a furry friend. I was looking for a furry friend. Like,
No animals allowed at Focus Forward.
No animals?
No.
We gotta change that. I had
No.
who's management. I need to talk to who's in charge.
Change the code. New code compliance.
Okay, so the man in charge is at the table.
Yes.
So we'll talk about that.
So let's start with a little bit of context. Let's talk a little bit about city management and your role. What is it that you're responsible for as it relates to the Grand Bahama Port Authority and the city of Freeport?
Okay, so we must first start off by stating that Freeport is a planned city. And as a planned city, there are certain rules, regulations, and codes in place. And in my role, I am assistant city manager, and we're responsible for the upkeep of the public roads, parks, the sidewalks, cutbacks and vegetation, landscaping, signage, a whole litany of things throughout the city.
Wow, that's a lot.
Well, listen, I'm a dash. Your shoulders need to be a little broader, eh?
Yes.
That's a lot you're working on. I don't know. How long do you work? How long are your hours? 12 hours?
We have a tremendous team in city management, so the work is distributed equally.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about, because you started it off the block, code compliance, right? That's a big word. When you talk about code compliance, what does that involve exactly as it relates to city management?
So, in the city of Freeport, each property, there's a certain zoning and a usage that you can build or construct or utilize a property for. And as it relates to city management, we want to ensure that persons are doing what they're supposed to do on a properly zoned lot. So if you have a single family property, for instance, you're supposed to build a single family home, not a duplex or not a multi-family home.
Not a single family in the front and a little something in the back and
Wait, hold on.
Well,
I want us to be
there
very
are
clear.
provisions
No,
for
I want us to be
appropriate.
very clear,
There-
right?
yes.
Because we know how some of the residential areas are set up, and we see these things, but we may not always understand what is required for these things to, I guess, happen, so that we could be up to code. So if I have a single family lot and a single family home, can I do anything else in my yard?
With the written consent, the pre-approval of the Building and Development Services Department.
Okay.
It has to be clearly defined on your architectural drawings, and there are provisions for a detached garage or a storage shed or appropriate construction on that property.
Okay.
I got a question, teacher. I got a question.
Okay.
I got a question. So, our parents get up in age. Sometimes they can't live on their own anymore. We may want to bring them in to live with us, but we may not necessarily want them living in the exact same house. I'm not talking about you, Mother. You're wonderful. But if I wanted to put a separate little cottage on my house, like what they call it, my husband say a mother-in-law suite, is that appropriate? Can I do that on my single family lot? Build a little room for her, separate and aside from our house, so she can have her own space by herself on my property. Can I do that on my single family lot?
I would say it would be more appropriate to apply for an addition to your home or an alteration so that you could properly care for your mother on your property while remaining within the building code.
I needed that to be very, very clear. Now, I've got another question. Got another
Well,
one?
you need to let him finish. He needs to finish.
Sorry.
I'm just saying.
I thought he was
Because
done.
you're going to have a lot of questions.
I'm anxious. My time's going to run out quick, and I got lots of questions for you.
Yes, so also with regard to code compliance, we want to make sure that you're using the property as it should be used. So one of the other provisions in the deed restrictions is no trade or industry on a lot. So what that means is that if you have a single family home, you should not have a mechanic shop operating from that single family zone property.
Okay.
Okay, and that's very important, and I like the example, right? But that means other businesses as well, right?
Yes, it
So there
does.
should be no at-home restaurants cooking, selling of food. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just asking the question because sometimes people are just trying to make a way for themselves.
Right.
So are you saying that if these things cannot happen, are there any provisions to help these people to be able to find a way to legitimately do the same business that they're doing, but perhaps somewhere else? Is there any way that the Port Authority helps to guide persons through that process?
Yes, if they go to our website at thegbpa.com and contact the Customer Relations Department, they would be able to advise them on the appropriate properties that they should seek to operate their businesses from. Home businesses are not permitted in the city of Freeport.
Home businesses, no
Right.
selling. So I want to be clear. So I shouldn't be selling clothing from my house, have people come and purchase from my house.
Under the restrictive covenants, you should not
I
be
can't
selling or
sell
operating a business.
cups and candy and sodas from my house.
Under the restrictive covenants, you're not permitted to do so from a single-family zone property.
Okay. I can't have a hair salon in my house and have ladies come in and I braid their hair.
You can, but under the restrictive covenants, you're not permitted to do so.
One of the reasons why I'm asking you that, because as casual as it may seem, the fact of the matter is Freeport is a planned city.
Correct.
We have zones, and one of the reasons why we always talk about this, why we have the zones, is because it's protect the persons in that area. If I have a single family home and I've gotten a particular residential area because I want peace, I want quiet, I don't want, constant traffic of people. I don't want people parking on my lawn because they're coming to get their food from next door. Right. Those are things that are important. I don't want to have the mechanic guy and a bunch of guys making a lot of noise, blocking up the road. I'm going to use the Freeport Report app today.
Good.
No, but there's other things. So, for example, let's talk about some other things with zoning. What are some other things that you find that Grand Bahamians in the city of Freeport may not be adhering to, that may be an issue or a problem for your department?
Well, one of the biggest issues would be, from a code compliance standpoint, would be those residential mechanics, because you have situations where it affects the environment, and ultimately we want to protect and preserve the quality of life for residents and visitors to the city. So the mechanic operations are of particular concern to us.
Okay. Now we're talking about code compliance and restrictive covenants and all of these things, and this is some good information, and I'm hoping that post this show there may be some things that we can share in future where persons might want to find out what are the restrictive covenants for my area. I believe some of that may be in some of the legal documentation associated with the purchase of the home or the conveyance and that sort of thing, but we can talk about that later, because there's another thing about code compliance that we want to talk about. We want to talk to Ms. Tip Burrows. And of course, when we think about Ms. Tip Burrows, I believe that you are the person that everyone thinks about when they think Grand Bahama Humane Society, because you've done so much to help the community. So tell us a little bit about the Humane Society and about code compliance on your end as well.
Well, as far as code compliance goes, this would be the person to talk to. But we're the only animal shelter on Grand Bahama. We're the only animal welfare organization on Grand Bahama. And the Port Authority asked us about 20 years ago now to do some animal control work within the city of Freeport. So we do try to respond as best we can to calls about nuisance animals, things like that. Unfortunately, we don't have any law enforcement authority. So for some of the complaints that we get, people need to call the police, or possibly the Port Authority if there's a code infraction. Unfortunately, the law enforcement is not what it should and could be when it comes to animal complaints. The Animal Protection and Control Act of 2010 was passed by Parliament in 2010, but has yet to be enacted. So the laws that still govern Grand Bahama, as far as I know, are the laws that were enacted in 1942, and they're very inadequate. So our hands are a bit tied when it comes to getting people to comply with the law. All we can do is make suggestions. Sometimes we're able to achieve some good results, but the thing that people need to understand, a lot of people are concerned about the stray dogs. And, you know, I always tell people this is not a dog problem, it's a people problem. The dogs did not fall out of the sky onto Grand Bahama. They came from people, people's dogs, people's yards, whatever. They're not keeping their dogs secure, right? If you're going to have dogs, it's your responsibility to keep them safely confined to your home and your yard, and also humanely. So that doesn't mean chaining them to a tree or keeping them in a tiny cage 24/7. So if you're not prepared to keep dogs safely and humanely and have them be part of your family, then don't get them, you know. We also have a big problem with people breeding dogs indiscriminately. It's accidentally, it's intentionally. Backyard breeders, we call it, and this is where a lot of these dogs are coming from, because people are not spaying and neutering their dogs, or they're trying to breed for profit, and it's not regulated, and it's out of control, and that is why we take in over 1,200 animals a year. It could be 3 times that many if we had better resources and funding. We only have one field person to go out and deal with all the many calls we get. He works 40 hours a week. It's not enough, unfortunately. We're doing the best we can, but it's a big problem. But until people take it upon themselves to be more responsible, and until the law decides to start enforcing the law so that the people who are not going to comply are forced to comply. You know, there's always a certain segment, unfortunately, that are not going to do what they need to do until there's some consequences.
Until something
Yeah.
happens. So now that we're talking about the animals, and I know you had mentioned dogs, you know, there are cats as well. Sometimes you go outside, there are cats in the streets. Let's just combine this conversation a little bit. Let's talk about animals. What kinds of animals are we allowed to have as it relates to these restrictive covenants?
Yes, well, contained in those documents, it would speak to no objectionable animals being contained on a property. And objectionable animals are anything except for dogs and cats, domesticated animals, so to speak. So you may have instances where persons have chickens on their property, or goats, or even rabbits or other types of animals. Those are not permitted under the restrictive covenants.
Well, is that inside my document when I bought my property?
You need to go and read
I
it.
need to go and read
Go
that.
and read that document and take a look to see what
Did
should
you
or
know
shouldn't be
that you
done.
couldn't have a rabbit?
I didn't know that you couldn't have rabbits.
You couldn't have a chicken?
I think
I
with
always
rabbits you could have a
question
pet rabbit in your
pet,
house,
yes.
right?
But not in your
But
yard. So you
people
can't
breeding rabbits in their
That's
backyard
the
would be the.
difference.
have,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So you can have a pet fish
Oh, definitely.
in your home, and
Definitely.
you
But you can't have a pet snake.
No,
Okay.
No.
not at all.
Okay.
All right.
That is very interesting.
I can't have pet turtles. I can't have my own goat cleaning up the yard. I can't have cows. I want to get my own milk. What are you trying to tell
in
me?
the Pine Ridge Agricultural Estates area, you're free to have your
There
own
you
cow
go.
or,
Right
or
off Grand
goat.
Bahama Highway, Alex.
Yes,
Go
lease
build
a
your
piece
house
of-
out there.
But I think it's important because I've driven past some homes in the Freeport, the city of Freeport, and I have seen goats.
Okay.
I have seen chickens. And I just thought, oh wow, I wish I had the, wherewithal to consider some
do
farm
that,
animals.
right?
But I don't have it in me. I'll get the. So so that's not supposed to happen then.
It's not supposed
It's
to
not
happen.
supposed to happen. So what happens in the case when you see someone, if it's visible and you know it's happening, how is that handled? Who gets involved?
Okay, well, we would get involved from a code compliance standpoint. The first step would be to have a verbal conversation with the person and warn them that they are in breach of the restrictive covenants. The second step would be to write them a demand letter, giving them adequate time to remove the animal from the property in a humane manner. And then thirdly, there may be other ramifications.
Okay, so you talked about animals. What about things like, what if I just wanted to turn my backyard into a farm so that I can, grow produce and fruit and sell it? Can I do that?
That's acceptable to grow produce, but not to sell it from your property for profit.
Okay.
Because then it becomes a business venture.
Yes.
I'm just
commercial
asking the
venture
questions that
and-
people want to know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
No,
thinking
I
about.
agree. I
Very
agree.
good question.
Yeah, I need to make sure. So there's also some things that come to mind, like you're talking about these restrictive covenants. So what about if I have a duplex lot and I wanted to say, okay, I have enough space on this lot, I want to add another extension to it. Is that something that I can do?
With the approval of the building department, you can have your GBPA licensed architect submit plans on your behalf. We'll review them, and if they meet the building code requirements, then we will approve them.
Okay, all right. But if I have a single family lot, I can't put a duplex on it.
Definitely not. That would be a zoning violation because a single family lot is only permitted for single family construction.
So what if I have a multifamily lot, but I don't have as much money anymore and I want to put a single family home on my multifamily lot?
That is fine because you can always step down in terms of the type of construction you're doing on a multifamily lot. So on a multifamily lot, you can build a fourplex, triplex, duplex, or a single family home.
Okay, so I can always step down, but I can't go up.
Right.
Correct.
Okay.
No 20 plexes.
Don't try to squeeze it on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. But while we have Ms. Burrows here, Ms. Burrows, I just want to circle back to you because it's obvious that the Humane Society really could use some help. I'm hearing it can use some help with legislation. I'm also hearing that there possibly could be some other types of support that you guys would need. So can you tell us about that just as
Sure.
we get ready to wrap up soon?
Yeah. Actually, a lot of people think we're a government agency of some sort, and we're not. We're a registered nonprofit. We're private, basically a charity, who is performing a
Great task.
a needed community service. And I will say that we're grateful to the Grand Bahama Port Authority, who have been, our supporters from day one and still remain our largest single supporter in terms of finances. We still have a shortfall to make up with our operating budget of about, our operating budget is about $850,000 a year. And we have a shortfall of about $450,000 a year
Okay.
after different things. So we have to raise that money through our veterinary clinic, through fundraisers, and mainly through donations. And we get not a lot, but we get some donations from supporters abroad. We have a few local businesses that are good supporters, but we are operating at a shortfall all the time.
And you're
So-
in need.
But we get calls every single day of people wanting us to help them. But very few actually ever make a donation. So I guess I would just like to say that, whether you love animals or not, everybody should be concerned about the animal problem here. We have a terrible overpopulation problem. We do offer free spay and neuter. So if people can't afford it, there's no excuse. We'll do it for free. All they have to do is call us.
What's that number?
827-1477 is our clinic number.
Okay.
If they have a problem with stray animals, nuisance animals, or they have just any questions, they can call our shelter office at 727-1390.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so we'll share that information with the community on social media to make sure that everybody knows that, we it's a community thing.
It is.
It's a community
Like
thing.
you said, it's not an animal problem.
No, it's
We
a
have
people
a people
problem.
problem.
Right.
And so I fully understand that because the people have to make sure the animals are spayed and neutered. They have to
Right.
make sure the animals are behind a fence.
So the next time you get aggravated at that dog throwing over your garbage or running after you in the street, just have a small, kind thought in your heart that the animal would much rather be snuggled up on somebody's couch or, sitting on their doorstep in a
Yes.
comfortable bed and getting fed and watered regularly and getting love. That's all they want is love. We domesticated them to be our companions, so we owe it to them to
Give
to
them
take care of
some
them.
love and take
And,
care of
and we
them.
also owe it to our neighbors not to have our animals become a nuisance to them.
Well, Tip, I'm so thankful that Tip still answers my call. I think I'm a nuisance to her.
You might be a nuisance to a lot of people, including me, but no.
If I haven't blocked you yet, you're good.
Yeah,
You're not blocked.
I'm good. I'm good.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being on the
Thank
show
you.
today. We truly appreciate this really, really good information. We want to learn a little bit more about those restrictive covenants, and we want to see if we can share that with the public or tell
gotta bring
people
him
where they can
back.
really, take a look and
there's a
begin
lot
to
to that.
digest. I think that is really, really important. And of course, the Grand Bahama Humane Society, we want to remind you guys, if you want to be able to help them, definitely give them a call, 827-1477. Make sure that you reach out to them. They are doing such a great work in the community, and they they need your help too.
And
All
the
right.
money.
Yes. Well,
And
of
the money.
course.
Make sure you say that loud and proud.
They need the money.
The money.
It's necessary. They need the budget. So thank you guys again so much. We're going to go on to our second segment. We have so much more to share with you. So listen, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this.
So one of the key messages that we promote during this season is to be prepared. Preparation is key. And so preparation for us means, one, the residents should, know their legal description, know where they're situated, their premises, so that after a storm event, particularly if permits are needed, once they come into the Building and Development Services Department with that knowledge of their address, we can better assist them. We also want to encourage our residents to ensure that they have the proper documentation. It's not too early to ensure that you have property plans as well as your conveyance documents and anything related to your ownership, and that these are secured and retrievable after a storm event, because again, that speeds up the time when we can assist you and respond to your needs.
We are working diligently to secure our city and help residents prepare. We remain here with you and for you as we plan and prepare together.
Welcome to Be Unique in Port Lucaya, and we carry a variety of stuff. We carry evening gowns, we carry dresses for all occasions, we carry shoes, bags, accessories, hair products, skin products, like I say, night clutches. We carry slippers for men, hats, bath and body work. If you need something for church, party, what any kind of function, you'll find it at Be Unique. We are located in Port Lucaya Marketplace, opposite Ministry of Tourism. Our operating hours is Monday to Saturday, except Wednesdays and Sunday we are closed. You can reach us at 603-6345.
DW's is a salon for women that are very interested in having their hair cared for. We cater to hair care specifically, and we do a lot of coloring services. We do relaxers, haircuts, and like I said, hair care is most important to us. I think I'm known for giving exciting colors and for taking very good care of women's hair. A lot of times women go and they have certain services done like braiding and weaving, and a lot of times that contributes to breakage. That would cause them to have to come in to get special treatments done to try to restore the hair. We also offer color services. We use Redken colors, matrix, and rust colors on our clients, and we use a lot of the professional products to make sure that we give optimum care. Our telephone numbers are 352-5933, or my cell is 357-5333.
Welcome to Freeport, the reawakened, the reimagined, the rebirth, the Renaissance capital of the Bahamas. Over $1.5 billion in investments. Marinas, cruise ports, downtown revitalization, residential developments. We're putting the city on the map. Want to know more? Just log on. Your future is only a click away.
everyone. Welcome back. We're here on Focus Forward, Grand Bahama's best talk show, and we are having a wonderful day. We were learning in segment 1 about code compliance, hearing about restrictive covenants. We talked about some of the things you can do and you cannot do in this planned city of Freeport, and where you may have some opportunities to do some other things if you get building and development services involved. Why are you disappointed?
I can't have my own cow from my own fresh milk on my property.
Do you really want to have a cow in your backyard?
It's a possibility. I can't have a
Seriously?
goat to keep the yard clean.
Seriously, Alex?
Who knows? It's just a thought.
That must be a whole lot of cleanup that you're
But I
willing
mean,
to do.
that's
a lot.
But
A
no,
cow,
but
it's a lot.
the top part of the show was awesome.
Yes.
I think we need to have another show, maybe an hour-long show with him and some of the other team members, because I think there's a lot of information about code compliance and restricted covenants that we didn't quite think about.
Right.
And we
let's
need the
face it,
community
who
to know.
reads the entire conveyance when you purchase it?
Did you read
Nobody
yours?
does that. The entire conveyance?
Okay.
I did, but I'll tell you why. My experience having worked with conveyances in customer service in the Grand Bahama Development Company and Freeport Commercial, that is the reason why I read my conveyance.
Okay, we'll go with that. I read mine too.
Yes,
Go with that.
because
We
it's
read it.
important.
It's important.
Now, if you ask me today what I read, I can't tell you.
But
it
did you
is what it
know?
is. But I read something.
What's one thing you learned on the first half of the show that you didn't know?
I knew most of it because it's a part of some of the things that we have to communicate typically to customers when we have to, if someone asks a question, if we don't have an opportunity to speak with other people. So I knew quite a bit of what he was talking about. What I did not know about was the covenants around the specific animals you can and cannot have.
Right.
Because I've seen someone have a horse,
Okay.
right? I don't see it anymore, but I've seen that. I've seen goats in the road, but that was in a different area, so I wasn't sure. But of course, everybody knows about cats and they know about dogs and that sort of thing. But everything else, I just did not. I did not know. What about you?
Well, a lot. Can't have chickens. Can't have the rooster. Can't have a goat. Can't have a cow. I can't have a farm to produce enough to sell.
Right.
I didn't realize that I could not actually build a separate unit on my yard for profit.
But there are opportunities too. So when you talk about the farm, there's the opportunity now to say, hey, let me go and get some farmland. That actually is pretty reasonable. If you want to reach out to the commercial department and the Port Authority, you have an opportunity to possibly get an acre of land in Pine Ridge Agricultural Estates. And but it's what it is, right?
Which is true.
So if it's an issue, there must be something to help resolve. So
Now, more information about what we talked about can be found on the GBPA website.
absolutely.
So that if you have any questions, this information was good, but we want to share more with you. Please go to the GBPA website and find out more. Now we're on the second half of our show. and
Second
this-
half, and this is an exciting one. You know, we had a little sneak peek of something that we're going to talk about in just a few moments. I've already identified what some of my Christmas gifts are going to be. So, you know, just
Giving it
very
away. You
excited,
can't even
just
be a
very
Secret Santa
excited.
anymore now.
Well, I didn't say who I'm giving them to.
Okay.
So, you know. That's a surprise. Yes. So we want to welcome back to Focus Forward the owner of Sis Empowerment. Hey, Sis. You have to say it for me.
You have to do it the right
You have
way.
to say it for me.
Okay.
So the owner, Mrs. Laverne Gardner, Sis Empowerment and Resources Center. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hey, sis.
Hey, Sis.
There you go.
I love it. Thank you so much for joining us once again. And we're going to have a wonderful conversation with you because so much more has been going on since you were here last time. So we're going to get into that. And of course, for the very first time, we want to welcome to the Focus Forward Roundtable from CFAN Investments, Mrs. Maria Lewis. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for coming. Yes.
Newbie.
Welcome, Maria. We're so happy
thank
to
you.
have you here.
Thank you all.
All right, so let's just get into the conversation. What is happening with Hey Sis? Because
Okay, so Hey Sis has some exciting things going on, things that you don't want to miss, you absolutely have to be a part of. So first and foremost, coming November 10th is From Stuck to Unstoppable.
Stuck to
From
Unstoppable.
stuck to Unstoppable.
It's November 10th.
November 10th,
The 10th
5
month,
o'clock
the 10th day.
p.m. at Pelican Bay Resort.
10/10/24.
There you go.
All righty.
And so that is, hey sis, every year we have a seminar. Last year we focused on women's health, so we talked about perimenopause, menopause. Of course, Alex, not for us because we're not of that age, but for those people who needed it, right? So we talked about that and the room was full. This year we're focusing on professional and personal development. And so you find that as you're going through life, sometimes you genuinely feel stuck. Maybe not in every area, but in certain areas, maybe in your finances, maybe in relationship, careers, all of the above. And so what we wanted to do was come together and not only talk about these things, but also I've created a workbook and we're going to go through that workbook. So we're going to discuss vision and clarity, but then you have to come prepared to do the work. Right? And so we're going to write down those visions. The Bible says what? Right? Make the vision.
Write
Right,
down,
right,
make it clear.
make it plain.
Yes.
We're going to talk about vision and clarity. You know, what are your core values? Because that's really how you're directed and how you move. Then we want to talk about fears, limiting fears and beliefs. Because sometimes that's it. You know, it's the voice in your head that's saying, I'm not good enough. It's the voice in your head that's saying, nobody will believe in me, nobody will support. And that is preventing you from doing the things that you want to do. But we want to not only talk about them, write them down, and then we want to turn them around into positive affirmations. And then we're going to take those same visions and create we want to focus on at least 3 goals at this event. And then we're going to create actionable steps for those goals. And we want to also pair you with an accountability partner. So the aim is that when you leave this event, you have a document, a blueprint that you can follow so that you know in the next few months what it is that I'm working on. But you also have someone who's going to say, hey, how's it going?
Did you do
Alex, I saw you get that cheesecake and you told me you were off sweets. So, but that is important, right?
Agreed.
So we have that, and then we're just going to make sure that we pray over those goals and dreams and ask God to guide us as we work through this. So it's more of a workshop than it is just being motivated. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with motivation, but we want you to put these things into action. There's some things in your head that you've been thinking about, hoping for, wishing for, and you can't seem to get them out of your head to actualize them. November 10th, 5 o'clock p.m., Pelican Bay Resort. This is where you want to be. It's going to be 3 hours, but it's going to be very interactive. And yes, ladies, yes, we're going to give you something to eat.
No, just say yes, Alex. Yes.
Because let's not pretend.
Let's not pretend.
Let's not pretend that we don't need food to be involved, right?
We need a little
Now
food.
it's 5 o'clock and that's a Sunday evening, so we're not giving you your Sunday dinner.
Right. Have a little light
We
refreshments.
just light
Okay.
refreshments will be included.
Yeah.
Tickets are only $55. And I know people come on and people say, oh, you know, tickets are going fast. Like, honestly, tickets are really going very quickly. They are. And so I'm encouraging you, do not hesitate. Do not hesitate. This is what Hey Sis is up to. This is what we're doing November 10th. And then, if you want to purchase your tickets, you can contact us at 826-6278. 826-6278. And we need you to register. Make sure that you register. We want you to register at least by Friday. So don't sit on this. If you know that you need this, don't worry about if your friend is coming and they want to go.
You come.
You come
Take
because you
responsibility.
need this. And the only way anything that you're thinking about, dreaming for, hoping to do is going to come, you have to act. And so we want to help us go from stuck to unstoppable. Because I know that I've been there. I don't know if you've ever been there where it's just like, what am I doing?
Yeah,
What am I doing next? Lord,
For sure.
if I tell someone else, if I say I'm going to do this one more time and haven't done the first thing yet, can't get out of my head. Overthinking or whatever it is, right? Or you're looking at your life and you're saying, you know what? I thought by now I would have been further ahead. Sisters, you are not alone. You think you're alone because you're looking on the outside and thinking, I'm looking at these people, they have everything together. I just want you to know we do not have everything together. We just use really good makeup and we get ourselves together really well. And shapewear. But when we wash our face and take off this shapewear, okay? No, but you're not alone. You are not alone. And you think that way. But we're here for you. And that really is the genesis of and what Hey Sis is about. It's to help uplift, empower, educate, and highlight women. And so that's part A. Part B.
Trailer.
Part B. So if you are following Hey Sis Empowerment and Resource Center for Women on any of the platforms, whether it's Facebook, it's Instagram, TikTok, any of those platforms, LinkedIn, you know I normally post what I call motivation moments every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Just a little something to kind of motivate you, get you going, remind you we believe in you, you have a sisterhood. And so what I did was I took a number of them and I've created a journal. For those of us who like to journal, it is out and available on Amazon. But if you're thinking Amazon, I can't wait. I will see you November 10th. They will be available, our journals. Yes.
Oh, let me see. That's nice. Quite nice. Let me see. So inside here on each page, you got the little insert from your motivation. Your progress may not be as much as you hoped, but you are making an impact.
It's quite nice.
And then if you go to the back, we just have
Go
a
to the
little
back right
area
quick.
for you if you have some goals. Write them down in some reflection. Yeah. And so all of that is a part of this journal, and the journal will be available at our event November 10th, 5 o'clock p.m., Pelican Bay. Again, tickets only $55, 826-6278, and you will, every registered person, every attendee will receive a workbook. So we are going to work this book.
So we are going to work. It's not just motivation. It's taking people through a process to create a plan for themselves, to help them get organized, and then partnering them with someone that can help to give them that
accountability
that nudge.
partner.
It's important. It's really important. I love that. I love that.
And we want to make connections too, right?
Yes.
So I mean, and you know,
Networking.
you can say that I'm gonna partner with my friend, but if we're really friends, you know, sometimes we like
I'll let you slide.
Yeah, right. So I want to partner you with other women in the room.
Okay, sounds good. I love it. I love it. And we're gonna come back to that on the tail end when she gives final thoughts.
I'm always your
She's
partner.
always your partner, and everybody else is at Hey Sis Empowerment. It's wonderful. All right, so Mrs. Lewis, CFAN Investments, of course, we want to know all about your business. So tell us a little bit about yourself, and then tell us about CFAN Investments.
Thank you again for having me. I've been on the island here for 20 years. My husband is Louis Ullman, so I'm Maria Ullman. And we have a property management company called CFAN Investments. And basically we manage properties from A to Z, apartments, uninhabited, inhabited, renters. We do condo association managements, kind of anything from A to Z in property management. Along with that, we also offer other in-house services. So if you're renting your apartment to somebody, you're going to need it to be cleaned every now and again. If you're not on the island, how do you get that done?
Right.
We'll help you out. So we have in-house services like that. The big one that we're working on at the moment is our pressure washing and soft washing services. We've been able to expand that quite a bit. So now we do residential as well as commercial pressure washing and soft washing. Now, a big question typically is, what is soft washing?
It's
not
soft washing.
Yeah, it's a term
That's a big question.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know what it is. It is exterior washing. A lot of people confuse it for interior kind of fabrics and that kind of thing. But it's a different form of cleaning the exterior of a building. Basically, it's used with chemicals and some lighter pressure. And we specifically use different chemicals and different strengths and concoctions to get off whatever it is, whether it's organic rust, gum stuck on the floor, these kinds of things. So no matter what it is that you need, we are able to do that.
You said no matter what it is.
Pretty much.
When you say that to someone like me, ask you. So
I'm
you've
just
got
gonna say you gotta watch with Alex.
Right. So if there's transmission fluid leaked on the driveway.
We've got something for that.
What if my painter spilt some stuff on my pool deck?
We absolutely got something for that.
What about those pesky pigeons that just make a mess on the window?
We gotcha.
Okay.
We also do paver sealing and sanding. So once we get it all nice and clean, we can actually seal it for you as well, and it'll stay nice and clean for a long time.
Nice and sparkly and nice.
You got it.
Okay,
You got
I was
it.
just checking. I had to make sure. You know, she said they do it all. So I was checking. I'm going to say, soon start washing cars.
We
then,
have a
before you know it.
solution. We have a solution for it all.
So what about indoors as well? So what about, for example, sometimes you might have purchased a home and the tiles, you don't want to get rid of the tiles, but they really need cleaning and buffing. Is that a service that you also offer?
Yes, not in-house, but we do offer that. We can get that done for you, absolutely.
Oh, okay. All right. So if it's not on your list, you can obviously contract that with them.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I like her already. So whatever
Everything
you
from
need.
A to Z, property management, we got you.
Okay.
So for the person who's watching the show right now, perhaps an international investor, someone that's thinking about coming to Freeport to do business, let's say they come and they invest in a residential property. Specifically, what are the services that you would offer them if they, kind of come down as snowbirds, then they leave? What are the specific services that you can offer someone in that particular realm?
That's a fantastic question. And I will say that everybody takes care of their property differently, but they take care of it in their own method, in the way that makes them feel comfortable. That's what we're here for. We're here to customize the property management experience to what you need and what you expect. So if they expect their windows to be cleaned 3 times a day, we'll make sure that happens. If they're Airbnb-ing their properties and they need somebody to manage that while they're not here because they're in Europe or something like that, we're there to do that for them and help them out with that. So it's completely custom tailored.
I like that.
It's a good turnkey service.
Yeah, so what that means is that if I specifically want certain chemicals used or certain things done, whatever it is that I need, you're going to go ahead and make sure it happens.
If you need it to be stocked up, for people who are coming in, cleaned up, tidied up, detailed, anything.
What about short-term services? So, for example, we do have some Bahamians here that they would live here for a few months. Some of them move to Nassau to do work. Some of them go to the U.S. They move around quite a bit and they come back and that sort of thing. What if they just wanted to do a short-term service for you to kind of look after the house for maybe about 3 weeks to a month or so to make sure that things are, handled, cleaned, accessible? If the gardener comes, open the gates and all of that. Do you provide those kinds of services?
Absolutely. So again, we are completely customized, and whatever it is that you need, we can get for you. So if you have your own gardeners, your own pool staff already that you currently use, we'll hop onto that and just make sure they're managed and that they're doing their job well, and come check on it. Make sure your property is how you want it to be. If you need new gardeners, new pool people, anything like that, we can also arrange for that to happen as well. Short term, like you're saying, long term, we do it all.
Okay. How successful has the business been then? You said you've been back here for 20 years now. Since you would have started the business, how successful has the business been within the city of Freeport?
That's a great question. So we've been doing it for 2 years now, and we started out with our own properties. So we really wanted to build up our skill set. We really wanted to make sure we knew what we were doing before we started out, right? And with that being said, we've had a great go so far. We've been able to teach a lot of people. We've been able to help a lot of people. And overall, we're here for Grand Bahama. We're here for Freeport. We work within Freeport. And we're so happy to see, all of the investment that's going into our city here. And we're happy to be part of that. To help upkeep it. Absolutely.
You're on here on Focus Forward. I hope your phone is ready. Because everyone who comes
Oh, we're ready.
Forward, they're like, okay, if they can't find you or miss the number, they'll say, hey, the company that was on the show.
Right, and they'll call the office, shoot a quick email.
Get us the number.
Oh, yeah. And we're not just phone. We're WhatsApp, we're Facebook, we're Instagram. We got you everywhere.
Now, I want to just jump back over to pressure washing.
Yeah.
You said you just started pressure washing. You're expanding the business right now.
Yes.
So for persons that really want to understand what that is, for example, you drive past these homes and the walls were once peach or yellow, but it's now covered in black
Yeah.
mold. All of
Yeah.
that you take care of.
Absolutely. So it goes even further than that. It's also a safety hazard. So when you walk up to buildings and they've got, you know, like you're saying, the black mold or like the green algae, kind of the moss, it gets slippery, you know, and you don't want people walking around on your property, even yourself, your children, all of that mold and everything's not very good for you, right? So that's what we're there for. We're there to help out with all of that. And as well, you know, so many people try to do it themselves. They get their little pressure washer and they go off and they do it, or they hire somebody and they have their little pressure washer and there's lines everywhere, and it's difficult to sometimes just find what it is that you're looking for to complete the job properly, right? So that's where the soft washing comes into play versus the pressure washing. Pressure washing can also damage surfaces and that kind of thing as well. So it's really important to have somebody to understand which surfaces can and cannot be cleaned with pressure.
Okay, so that was my
that's something
next
else that we
question.
can,
Yes, because there goes, some of these buildings look like, you know, code compliance needs to pay a visit to them. So do you guys know, you know, like you said, when to do the pressure washing and when to do the soft washing? Because then what if you go ahead and start pressure washing half of the wall and the whole wall crumbles in?
What a great thing to say. So that happens so often, you know.
Does it
and
really?
It does. It happens so often when you're using the high pressure, when there's lots of mold behind paint and everything, and you're using pressure, it's all going to fly off. If you use chemicals, it's much more gentle and much more effective in cleaning lots of surface. There's even other gentle surfaces like some concrete moldings and that kind of thing, all these beautiful designs you have around the sides of your house and businesses. Using pressure washers, they're very abrasive and they can just take it all off if you're not careful.
And we definitely don't want that to happen, for sure. But listen, we want to thank you guys so much for being with us. This was an impactful segment. Lots of new information. We're happy to see the growth that both of your businesses are displaying right now. And of course, we look forward to from stuck to unstoppable. Definitely. 10/10/24, Alex said it
Yes,
best.
so
November 10th.
At 5 o'clock p.m. at Pelican Bay Resort. And quickly, because I know we're out of time, I just have to give a shout out to my sponsors, because if I didn't have sponsors, this would not be happening. So I want to give a shout out to Star General, Bahamas Institute of Business and Technology, Guardian Radio, Imagine Graphics, and the Grand Bahama Port Authority. Thank you for believing in our businesses and coming on board to see this venture. So ladies, if you're out there, we'll see you November 10th, 826-6278.
Yes, thank you so
And
much.
Sissy Fan, where can they find you?
809-8595. And again, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and regular phone as well.
CFAN Investments.
That's wonderful. Thank you guys again so much for being with us. And of course, the invitation remains.
Pleasure.
Please come back, visit us next year, because we want to hear about more growth, all sorts of things happening here. And of course, guys, we want to remind you that the Conch-Man Triathlon, the Grand Bahama Port Authority GBPA Conch-Man Triathlon, is happening this Saturday, November 2nd. Make sure you're a part of it. Are you athletic? Are you doing it?
GBPA, which means you should be there. Have you been practicing?
From last year? Absolutely not. I've been supporting. I do what I have to do in the background.
We'll be out there, so we're gonna be there.
Conch-Man Triathlon. She's going to speak for herself. I am going to be there to witness, to view, to support, to cheerlead. You're going to be in the water, or are you going to ride the bike?
I'll be with you at your side.
Make sure you support the Conch-Man Triathlon, guys. It's conchmantriathlon.com so that you could go ahead and register. You have an opportunity to do it now. Do it today. Make sure that you're included in the numbers so that you can have a wonderful time on Saturday. It's usually such a wonderful, fun time.
It is.
Watching everyone from the young ones all the way up to the senior citizens that are all participating in all aspects of the event. And so please go out. Support, bring your pom-poms, make sure you come out and support the persons that are there. And of course, I believe there's also the GBPA volunteers that would typically come out and help as well. So we're really happy to be out there on Saturday, early morning, 6 o'clock. Be out there nice and early. Remember to follow us on the GBPA Facebook page and Empowering Licensees Invest Grand Bahama. Make sure you follow Focus Forward there. And of course, Dove and The Rhythm, Fridays at 11 o'clock. Make sure you listen in. And ZNS TV, make sure you catch us in the evening time on Thursdays and Saturday mornings at 10. Alex, great show today.
It was a great show, but you had a busy weekend just passed, didn't you?
I did.
You did. Give me a little sneak peek of what you did.
The 40th anniversary of Reverend Canon Norman Lightbourne. His pastoral anniversary was celebrated on this past weekend. It was a wonderful celebration. We truly appreciate him. Lots of persons coming from all over the world,
Great
really.
event.
Great event. Banquet at Grand Lucayan Hotel. Almost 500 persons present.
Oh, that's why
it
you were
was
busy. I couldn't find you.
yes, and then church services, of course, on the Sunday as well.
Which was at Christ
And
the
then the
King.
tours that happened with the family members, getting everybody to be able to see our beautiful city. You know, we had to do that, and so it was a time. We had a time.
You had a time.
We
that
had
night.
a time. We had a time. So it was really, really good. So, of course, guys, we just want to thank you again for watching us, inviting us into your businesses and your homes. Grand Bahama's Best Talk Show. We are always here for you. And until next time, I'm Glendia Sweeting.
And I'm Alex Thompson.
And we're informing you on the positive things that happen when you focus forward.
Forward.
You've been listening to Focus Forward, sponsored by Invest Grand Bahama. Like us on Facebook at Invest Grand Bahama Small Business Bureau to stay updated. And drop a business card at the Grand Bahama Port Authority receptionist desk to have your business featured on our show. Tune in next Thursday,
Same time
same place,
for Focus Forward.